Good evening to everyone. Welcome to 7 Day 7 webinars on wildlife on the occasion of Wildlife Week 2024, conducted by Aganashini Nature Foundation. Aganashini Nature Foundation is an environmental conservation organization by providing nature education, awareness, and outreach programs for students and community peoples. I hope you all attended yesterday's webinar. This is the fifth webinar on the occasion of Wildlife Week 2024. So today we have webinar on River Terns of Bhadra, Karnataka by Mr. Karthik N J. He is a forestry graduate with masters in wildlife, currently pursuing Ph.D. in wildlife at Department of Wildlife and Management, Kuvempu University. Also a resource person for the Karnataka Ecotourism Development Board. His work includes bird migration studies across India with BNHS through bird ringing, also involved in conservation awareness programs on wildlife and rural children nature education programs. He is the IBCN state coordinator for Karnataka for BNHS bird conservation programs. I request Mr. Karthik sir to take over the session, please.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. I would like to thank Aganashini for giving me this opportunity. So let's start about the river terns. I'll be covering about like what are river terns and mainly where they are found and what's their breeding. So I'm basically working on breeding ecology of river terns at Bhadra Tiger Reserve for my PhD thesis. So Bhadra Tiger Reserve, all guys are known. I think like last 2 days back only we were celebrating like 25 years of conservation success of Bhadra Tiger Reserve. It has been 25 years since the Tiger Reserve was declared, and it's very famous for like Bhadra is famous for mainly river terns, tigers, and goats. So introduction about Bhadra Tiger Reserve is about it was started in the year 1951. The Mysore Maharajas used to use this protected area as an hunting grounds. So later in the 1951 it was a hunting ground. Later in the 1974 it has become a Bhadra Wildlife Sanctuary, and later in 1998 it has become a tiger reserve. Like it is the 25th tiger reserve in India. So Bhadra Tiger Reserve mainly consists of 4 ranges. One is Lakurli. So we have the river terns are mainly backwater areas. So other one is Tangebelu, which is having a shola forest, and another one is Hebbe range. So Hebbe is like dense vegetation, and Muttodi is like having a plantation. So you can see different vegetation, different habitats for Bhadra. So our main concentration is about like river terns today. So we'll be talking more about like what is the riverine habitat which is found in Bhadra Tiger Reserve. So Bhadra Tiger Reserve was started in construction in the year of 1947. Soon after the independence, the construction of Bhadra Dam has started, and it was completed in the year 1965. So you guys can even see about like stories of Bhadra Dam and man-eaters of Lakkavalli, like Jim Corbett, Kenneth Anderson. All these people have written in their books like man-eaters of Lakkavalli. And wildlife tourism is also a major part in the Bhadra Reservoir. So one can go for boat safaris to see the animals in the backwaters. Like more than 90% of this area, this reservoirs is present in Chikmagalur. Only 10% of the area which is present in Shumaga. Okay, so we got to know what is the importance of Bhadra Tiger Reserve and some information about Bhadra Tiger Reserve. So now we are going to talk more about river terns and their behavior and their lifestyle, everything. So river terns are the important, like they are the riverine birds. They are mainly found uh, inside the inland reservoirs. They are not present in the coastal areas. So that's the specialty of this river tern, and it's a Schedule 1 species, and it has recently declared as a vulnerable. Actually, it was a near threatened earlier, but the population is declining rapidly, and it's endemic to Indian subcontinent as per the records. But we have done ringing in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and all for these river terns. We were able to see them, like document them. They're moving for even in the Arab countries. The global population, as estimated, is about like 50,000. The strong hold of riverine population, river tern population is present in India. So no other place you can see this much of breeding over the world. So preferably the preferred habitat of river terns is like found in the large rivers, lakes, and reservoirs. They always make a congregation during the breeding season. So one can see in the pairs during non-breeding season moving around the small water bodies. It prefers a fresh water body with ample fish supply. Fish is major diet of the river tern consists of an fish. So geographical distribution is widely distributed across Indian subcontinent. Prominent presence of this species you can see it only in the inland reservoirs and riverine ecosystem. The prominent distribution of these river terns in Karnataka mainly you can see in Bhadra. There are more than 5,000 nestings, and even in Bagalkot there are records of 2,000 plus nestings. But the highest density of nesting in the world, where you can see is Bhadra. So that important these islands are, like more than 15,000 birds visit here. That too, around like 25 to 30% of the global population is present in Bhadra Reservoir. So preferred diet. So they mainly feed upon fishes. 90% of their diet is mainly of fishes. And even I have observed, like I have used the camera trap set for the entire 5 months. I have to set up a camera trap near the nests and see what the birds are bringing to their nest and what they're feeding upon mainly. As I observed, like 90% of my study observations, mainly fish is the major diet for them. Only some of them have got some insects and some tadpoles, and even they got some crustaceans also. So social behavior, you can see a lot many behaviors when they are in huge numbers. Social behavior, one of the major behavior as I noticed is like they are party hunting. So party hunting is like they will be moving with the cormorants. Like cormorants also come in huge numbers in the summers. While cormorants were eating in and hunting the fishes, these river terns used to fly above that cormorants and used to catch the fishes. When cormorant dips in, the fish jumps out. So that jumping out fishes will be catched by these river terns. That is one of the major behavior you can see here. And even roosting, like most of the river terns which visit to Bhadra, like 50% of the population is non-breeding population. What they do is like they only come during evenings or night to roost, and they'll be moving away during the mornings. And you can see like mating behavior. I'll be talking about mating behavior also, and they always nest in huge numbers in the congregation. And you can see they are dipping in water to maintain the regulate the body. To maintain and regulate the temperature of the egg and body, so they will be always dipping in water and making them self wet. So river terns of Bhadra. So Bhadra Reservoir is located in almost like Tikmangalur and Shumaga border. Each year the water resides during the summer because most of the water which is present in Bhadra Reservoir is used by farmers of Davangere, Ballari district. So they'll be growing paddy. So every year there will be a release of water from the reservoir during the winter season. So once the water level goes down, these birds started coming up. These birds will start coming up to Bhadra in the month of January. So January is the arrival time of these birds, and July is the exit time. So they will come in like as I observed this season. So I got to see like 6 batches. So they came in 6 batches, and even they are in a good site fertility. Site fertility is nothing but they're using the same landscape again and again to breed. Or say using the same, visiting the same landscape again and again. It's called as a site fertility. So the islets are isolated and provide excellent camouflage. These islets are very well camouflaged and provide, and even the vegetation also matters here. So I'll be talking about vegetation also, how that vegetation plays a role in the nesting. So once the bird visit the islands in the January, the islands were newly opened. There used to be no vegetation left. It was all dried up. After February, March, so the vegetations will start coming up slowly. The birds also lays the eggs there, and that eggs once they hatch, they'll be getting a roosting spot because of there is a vegetation improvement like vegetation growth. That vegetation growth acts as a shade bearer, shade for these chicks to survive. So river tern islands, there are mainly about 2 islands preferred by river terns in Bhadra Tiger Reserve. The birds start congregating reservoir from the month of December and January. You can see the birds breeding in the island starts from February and goes up to July. So the total area of both the islands is like 17.6 acres. Island 1 is 7.2 acres. Island 2 is 10.4 acres. So island 1 is a 7.2 acres land, but you can see like 3,500 plus nests in the 7.2 acres. That much is the density of that river Terns. So this is how you feel. So you can see it over here. One which is in the right corner, that is the island 2. One which is the elongated one, that is the island 1. Here you can see island 2 and island 1. So Ryotan nesting islands in different batches. You can see like 6 batches over here. So island 2 is like smaller in the area, 7.2 acres, but most of the birds using island 2. And island 1 is only like 3-4 batches come there and breed. So it's actually a nearer to the human habitated area also, like more from the bank, it's around like 500 to 600 meter, that's it. But no human habitation inside that islands, and no people visit during the breeding season. Only the people who visit during the breeding season, only the threat which is observed is like fishermen. So this is how it looks. So first one is the island 2, for island 1. Second one is the island 2. This is how densely the birds are nesting in that islands. So this is how it looks, the riverine islands. So you can see it in the top right left corner. That's how like when the birds visited the island, this is how the vegetation looks. You can see in the below right corner how the vegetation has boomed up, how the vegetation has grown. Like earlier it used to be that like in the right top corner open barren area, but soon after May, June, the vegetation will start growing up very densely, and that area is used by river terns to roost, river tern chicks to survive from the harsh summers. So vegetation, so Cleoma viscosa covers the major like 90% of the area of the island is consist of Cleoma viscosa, and that is like very well camouflaged with the chicks. And you can see it around like 9 species of vegetation, which I observed. And rocks also plays a major role. The major rocks you can see it over riverine islands are quartzite, amphibolite schist, chlorite schist, and mixture of quartz and schist. So these rocks also used by river terns to lay their eggs and to protect the eggs moving down the water. So I will be showing the video how that river terns uses a stone to check its egg is hatched or not, like to control the erosion of this thing, erosion of nest during the rainy season. So this rock will be used as a barrier that will allow the that will not allow the movement of eggs. And one special observation this time I got is around like 5 species of terns. You can see it over Bhadra, which we have documented over in our camera trap. So first one is river terns is very common, and white-winged tern. This is the first record of breeding plumage of river tern, breeding plumage of white-winged tern in Karnataka. As I gone through the literatures, our study has got the first observation of white-winged tern in Bhadra Tiger Reserve and even in Karnataka in breeding plumage. And whiskered tern, you can see it over in the congregation. And gull-billed tern, you can see, I have observed like 5-6 individuals this time. And little terns also come in 30-50 numbers. So these are the 5 terns, you can see it in the Bhadra Reservoir. The only breeding bird which we have observed is only river tern is the only bird which is breeding over here. All the other terns are like visitors. They're using this site as a stopover site. So this is how the river tern nesting will look like. So open vegetation kind of thing. And breeding cycle. So we're going to talk about breeding cycle, what the bird does during the breeding season. So once the birds started coming up from the down, you can see the flying of the birds. Once the birds started congregating in the islands, the male and female will be start displaying the courtship to attract the male and female. Like female will be fluttering their wings, and male will be putting their head up and walking in the symmetry. So you can see the male will be always offering a fish to the female. Whichever the female accepts the fish, that indicates it's accepted to breed. It accepted to mate. So once the female accept the fish, it will bow down its head down. So I'll be showing the video about like how they do. It will bow down its head down, and the male will mate with the female. And soon after mating, after 2 weeks, after 1 or 2 weeks, the both male and female will be involved in making their preparing their nest, and both male and female will incubate the eggs. So both parental care is distributed equally between both male and female. And you can see a general clutch size of 3 to 4, but here I have put it a 5 clutch size. Clutch size indicates number of eggs in a nest. So the average clutch size of river terns in Bhadra is like 3 to 3.5, and the eggs will hatch soon after 22 to 24 days. It will take 22 to 24 days to hatch the eggs, and soon after hatching, the chicks will stay in the nestings only for 2 to 3 days. After that, they'll be moving out and forming a group called as creatures, where all the young ones come together to avoid the predation. So that you can see. And soon after 40 days, the chick will start flying. So mating behavior, I was telling about mating behavior. Here you can see how the male is offering the fishes to female. Like 3, 4 individuals is offering the fishes to female. And once the fish was taken by the female, it indicates I'm ready to mate. So once it's accepted, it will bow down its head down, and the male will mate with the female. You can't differentiate the male and female by seeing. So different nesting patterns. What we have observed here is like some of them nesting in the barren land in between rocks, some of them using crustaceans, mollusks, and some of them using a grass, and some of them using a stick, and some of them are laying in the open areas. So these are the different types of nesting which I have observed. Like different individuals here, different materials for constructing the nest. So clutch size. As I was talking about clutch size, the clutch size of river terns typically ranges from 2 to 3 eggs. Occasionally, they may lay up to 4 to 5 eggs, 4 or 5 eggs in a single clutch. But this is rare. So this clutch size is only maintained when there is a favorable condition. When they feel they can get a plenty of food for their young ones, the clutch size will increase. And eggs of different color. You can see a different colors and pattern of eggs blend in the natural surrounding, protecting them well. These are all the eggs which you are seeing in the screen. Is all the river tern eggs. So you can see it green color ones, brown, blue, all the different colors you can see, which helps them to match with their surrounding. These are all the nests of same river tern species. So egg coloration can help them to regulate temperature, with darker eggs absorbing more heat and lighter eggs reflecting it and adapting a variable environmental conditions. So these different colorations will help the chicks to regulate the birds to regulate the temperature and to blend with the environment. And incubation. If you want to know about the incubation more, the incubation of eggs takes place up to 21 to 25 days, as I have shown. So soon after the egg is laid, both male and female will be sitting on the eggs, and both male and female will be always dipping in water because it is an open area. The temperature rises up during afternoon very high. There may be a chances of damage of eggs due to high temperature. So the technique what these river terns use is like they will go and dip in the water and make themselves wet in the under part. So they will come and sit that in the egg. They will come and sit on the egg. That will maintain the temperature of that egg. They will cool down the temperature of that egg. So and even both male and female are involved. So feeding, the parents start feeding the fish to chick from the day one of hatching. So fish is the major component of their diet. The fish is fed by river terns, parents soon after the bird is hatched. So you can see like I have observed like 9 species of fishes which they mainly feed upon in the Bhadra reservoir. And even I have observed, you can see it, or like one bird is catching frog and one is taking away the insects, termites to feed the chicks, because the protein is very much important during the chick stage. And fish species that river terns prefer to feed upon is all these 9 species. So Roite ogilvy is the top choice, like top preferred choice. And Chandanama also is very much used by river terns. Roite is the most preferred fish for chicks. So parental care, the both male and parents share the equal responsibilities. The parents are highly protective towards the chicks and eggs. You can see it over here how aggressive the chicks are. And chicks behavior, they rely heavily on their parents for warmer protection and food and protection. So mainly, you can see one more special behavior in this reverton chicks is like they will be acting like a dead. So they will act like a dead. They practice walking and stretching their wings, preparing for their first flight. They'll be always mimicking the adult ones, what the adults are doing. After fledgling, chicks start to learn hunting skills by observing and imitating their parents. When sensing danger, chicks instinctively hide and crouching low and remain still. So you can see it over here how the bird is sitting still. It acts like dead. That behavior is the unique behavior which I observed this season in the river terns. And you can see it over here how that river tern is using a stick to learn fishing. And creatures. So, you guys heard about creatures. Chicks of different nests come together in a communal group, which is called as an creatures. So, the main concept of creatures in all the riverine birds have this special behavior because for providing a safety and social interaction and gradual learning process for the young birds. By seeing the other individuals in and around them, they'll be mimicking the other individuals and the adults and following up and learning the new behavioral techniques. So you can see only creatures behavior in the riverine birds and coastal island birds. Adults take turns supervising, and even the parents also take turns in the creatures. Each creatures will be consist of at least like 4 to 5 parents all the time because to look after the safety of all the chicks over the island. So that also make a parent to feel that my chick is safe. Someone is making observing my chick. I can go easily and get a fish for my chick. And even one peculiar bear, you can see it over in the river turns is all these come together like hundreds of chicks come together. The parent can identify its chick very easily. Even though all the chicks look similar, but the parent can identify which chick is their own. And even chick can identify their parents. Even though there is no differentiation, but chicks are able to identify their mother, parents, and even parents are able to identify their chicks. And what I have done this season is like catching success rate. We have used a flagging of all the nests which were present. Like we used to mark each and every nest where there used to be a new egg hatched. So I have marked around like 600 nests this season, and we used to take an observation for every 2 days. What is the success rate of that egg? So soon after marking, so we used to go and visit every 2 days, and we used to see what is the progress of that. What is the progress of that nest? So soon after the chicks were hatched, we used to document like how many chicks are hatched, how many are not hatched, and what is the reason for the damage or failure. So this is how we used to mark. Like we used a bamboo stick with yellow marking. You can see it over in the background of that bird. The flower which is present in that island is having a yellow color. That is a Clioma viscosa yellow flower. So we also used a yellow color tape. It should not feel the birds, should not feel that some foreign body has kept over here. So it can feel it like, oh, it's a flower. So yellow color is matching with Clioma viscosa flower. So we use the yellow flags. And aerial nest count using a goose software. We also done a aerial nest count because the density is very high. We cannot walk over all the island and count the number of nests, and it's very difficult to count manually. So we used a aerial nest count, which is nest count using a goose software. Goose software is a software which is available very freely. One can take a aerial shots and mark the number of individuals. You can see it over here. So by using this thing, I got around like 5,600 plus nests in Bhadra Tiger Reserve. On the single island, it consists of 3,600 nests. So we are able to count that net because of using a aerial nest count, using a drone, and making a use of goose software. Birds that are breeding in the islands are, you can see only not the river terns of the now. Only birds which breed in the islands are not. So the birds which breed in the river islands are, one is river tern, Even the small particles nest here in huge numbers, like 500 to 600 small particles nest here in huge numbers. Even spot-billed ducks are using the same islands to their nest, and even greater thickney is also nesting in the Riverton Island. One can see it over here. And bird species that are closely observed in the islands, one is gull and planticoles you can see, and I have thought about like different species of river terns, thickney, cormorants also roost in huge numbers, and even you can see like black-headed ibis foraging in the banks of that island, and they are acting as scavengers. Whichever the chicks were dead, that were taken away by the black-headed ibis, and they will start feeding upon the chicks. You can see it in the photograph. And threats to birds, which are mainly main cause for threats of these river terns is, one is human activity, and other one is birds of prey and ants, climate change, disease. So birds of prey, the major birds of prey which you can see it over here is Bonelli seagull comes during the peak breeding season, and even Brahminy kites come there, and even Brahminy kite will come there, and even peregrine falcons, ospreys do visit this island and hunt the chicks. And even the otters also, like mammals, the otters also come over there and walk around the island, and that's led to some of the damage of the eggs as I have observed this season. And human activities mainly by fishermen, and climate change like rapid rainfall. So this season, in the month of May, we got around plenty of rainfall from the 20th to 28th May. The water level has risen by 2 to 3 feet, which is affected the most of the nests which were laid in the banks of the island or got affected due to increase of water level. All the eggs which were present in the banks was washed away due to rain. And even diseases, some of the birds were dead, as I observed in the banks. And you can see it over here how this uh, IBC is feeding upon the chick, which is dead. So some of the major behavior which you can see it over in the island are, this is acting like a dead. The bird you are seeing in the right left top corner, the chick is alive, but it's acting like a dead. And the second behavior which you can see is like picking up a egg and throwing and opening the egg to take out the chick. So that behavior also you can see it over in the island. And even you can see the drying up fishes on their wings during feeding, and you can see this behavior like white-winged tern visiting, and even you can see the carrying of chick from one place to other place. When the chicks move out of the nest, the mothers will pick up that chick and drop it in the nesting island. You can see it over that also. And even there was a one of the chick which was dead in front of my camera, which I camera set it up. This individual was poking up the chick either to check it's alive or not. Oh, that behavior also one of new behavior which I got in the camera trap. And even this black-headed ibis feeding upon the dead individuals, and the other juvenile following the other adults to learn the fishing, plunge fishing. River terns are mainly famous for plunge fishing. They won't dip directly into the water. They will be only plunging upon the river where the fishes are moving in the top layer. So they will plunge like anything and they will catch fishes. So our field team, me, Karthik N J, and Jagdish DRFO, and Sharath, the boat driver. So we were the team which we are working mainly on these river of Bhadra, and we are also thinking to start our ringing from this season, because we don't know where exactly the birds are coming from, where exactly the birds are using this landscape, where they're exactly coming from, and which are the stopover sites which these birds are mainly using. So to look after all these things, we are getting a permission from PCM, and we are starting the migration movement of that birds to study by ringing and flagging of the chicks. So it will be very beneficial for the conservation of this species whose population is declining very rapidly. So we can easily identify through ringing so where these birds are exactly coming from, and soon after breeding where these birds are exactly moving. So because after June, July, you can't even see a single individuals around the reservoir. Soon after December, January, the birds will start coming up in huge numbers. So I would like to thank all of them and have a small video. Can I show it?
Yes, sir, you can show it.
Okay.
Welcome to the enchanting Bhadra backwaters in
It's
Karnataka,
showing.
a serene sanctuary where the
Yes,
majestic
sir, it
Hello?
is visible, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir, visible.
summer
Audio?
approaches the
Yes, sir,
Bhadra
audible.
reservoir.
Okay.
Thousands of river terns gather on these tiny islands, transforming them into bustling colonies. In this natural haven, the river terns begin their delicate dance of pair bonding. Male terns, eager to impress, engage in elaborate courtship displays, offering gifts to their chosen partners. As part of their courtship ritual, males present small fish to the females. This gesture signifies their readiness and ability to provide. The females, in turn, flutter their wings, signaling the start of the mating process. Competition for mates is fierce. Males vie for the attention of the females, each one striving to outdo the others. The strongest and most resourceful males are the ones who win the privilege of mating. Once bonded, the male and female work together to build their nest. They carefully select a spot and gather materials, creating a safe haven for their future offspring. The female lays 2 to 3 eggs, and the incubation begins. To keep the nesting area cool, the terns take regular dips in the water. A clever strategy to maintain the perfect temperature for their precious eggs. The adults wash the fish before feeding their chicks, ensuring the food is clean and easy to swallow. This careful preparation helps the chicks grow strong and healthy. Both parents share the responsibility of raising their chicks. They take turns incubating the eggs, and once hatched, feeding their young. During this time, the terns become very aggressive, fiercely defending their nests from other adult birds. Their protective instincts are crucial for the survival of their young. After just 1 or 2 days, the chicks venture out of the nest, beginning their exploration of the world around them. Through 3 to 4 days, the chicks form groups called creatures. Together, they move towards the water, learning to mimic the adults in fishing and flying. The young terns practice tirelessly, honing their skills in flying and fishing. These early lessons are vital for their future independence. As the monsoon arrives, the chicks have grown and are ready for adult life. Around 40 days old, they are prepared to embark on their own journeys, continuing the legacy of the river terns. Next year, they will return to the same islands of Bhadra, ensuring the cycle of life continues in this beautiful reservoir.
So the documentary which I have seen, that is entirely shot by using camera trap. So okay, thank you.
Thank
If you have any question, you guys can ask. Like, it is a very difficult task to study these riverine birds because we need to move around in a boat, that too in the peak wind blowing season. Most of the times, we used to come back because of the rough weather.
So thank you so much, Karthik sir, to share this fascinating knowledge about river terns. So now the session is open for discussion. So those who have any doubts, so please ask your doubt by unmuting yourself or by putting the message in the chat box.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes,
Hello.
yes, audible. Audible.
Sir, what is the importance of environment in ecosystem, sir?
What?
What is the importance of river tone birds in ecosystem, sir?
Oh, importance of river term. This indicates a river terms indicates there is a rich biodiversity of fishes, and the
Uh,
area is good for the area. Riverine birds mainly act as an this thing, controlling the natural threats, and even river terms mainly they indicates the habitat is very good, and the flow of these doesn't nest in the polluted areas. They only prefer where there is a rich biodiversity. These river terns are if the river terns are present, that indicates the biodiversity is very rich, and the uh, riverine ecosystem, it indicates the presence of good riverine ecosystem. So where there is a ecosystem is damaged, where there is no nesting, so that indicates that is not a suitable area for their nests. You can see it over here, and the population is declining very much. So they maintain the ecosystem of our inland reserves. If there is no river terns in the inland reservoirs, the population of fishes will boom up, and that will affect the entire ecosystem.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening. First of all, thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Thank
I
you.
hail from Chhattisgarh and I have seen terns only near Bhopal, and because Bhopal has a lot of lakes.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes,
it's interesting to note that one thing that I had observed that there are no trees around.
yes,
Is
ma'am.
it that no trees? So is it that that is why they lay their eggs on the banks, and that which is quite risky for them? And number two, is there any relation with the Arctic terns that do often migrate? Because I see that you have not seen the migratory patterns.
Yes, ma'am. So these birds are mainly ground nesting birds, ma'am. They won't
Mm.
require trees to lay their nests. They prefer to lay their nest in the open areas. If the vegetation comes up in the island also, then the nesting island has gone. So we are. I am suggesting the forest department to maintain the vegetation to avoid growing of vegetation in that islands during the summer season. So we always go to that islands, and we clean. We are trying to clean up the vegetation which comes up, which grows like a tree. So these birds mainly prefer a open terrain.
Okay.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, why they pretend to be a dead one?
That's a behavior what these birds display. Because if it's dead, and most of the predators, which they mainly only the scavengers looks likes to eat the dead ones. Like all the other predatory birds, they won't eat a dead individual. So only the scavengers comes, and even they will hide like a dead ones, because we were going near that, they'll feel the bird is already dead. We don't need to threaten that. So that's the behavior what you can see it in river terns to avoid the
Hello, sir.
predators interaction.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes,
Sir, I want to ask how much time they require to learn the flight. Means they
40
run
days. 40 days.
40 days.
Mm.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, you said that the parents identify their chicks and the chicks identify their parents. By using what technique they identify themselves?
So as I know, there'll be like audio. kind of thing. We still doesn't know, like no one doesn't know what they're exactly communicating, how they're exactly communicating with their parents. That's a mystery left behind.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yes.
Hello. I am
Yes,
from Guwahati, Assam.
Oh,
I am audible.
yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible.
Achha, I have visited in last February first week this Chambal River Turn, where
sir?
BNHS is doing one project in Chambal
Chambal.
River.
One of my guide is working on Chambal and Indian skipper. Parveen Sheikh.
Yeah. So Parveen Sheikh. Yeah, sir.
Yes.
So the color of the turn of Chambal River and color of the Bhadra River is quite different of the beak.
Oh, yes, sir. It's very different.
So
Like skimmers mainly prefer sandy islands. Skimmers mainly prefer sandy islands. These river terns mainly prefer rocky islands.
So river terns and skimmers are not the same bird. It seems to be in similar in
both are riverine birds. Both are riverine birds, but the nesting preference habitat is different.
That is fine, but what this bird belongs to the same family.
It's same family, riverine birds.
Acha. In Chambal, we have seen there is no vegetation is there. Open field, they are laying eggs on the sandbar.
Yes, sir. Skimmers prefer open field. Like even for roosting also, there doesn't need a vegetation. But river terns chicks need a vegetation after hatching to avoid the harsh sunlight.
So what is the basic difference between two birds, skimmers and river terns?
So skimmers and river terns prefer to be having a same habitat, but they are endemic to India and their beak is very different. That is like a Caesar skimmers. We always prefer a shallow water skimmers, but our river terns depends upon even in the reservoirs.
Right. Whether it is confined to only this Bhadra location or it is also spread all over Pan India?
So it's spread over all over Pan India, but the highest density of nesting which you can see over the world is Bhadra.
Achha. Thank you very much.
Even in Himachal, I have worked in Himachal. Even in Assam, you can see.
Assam it is available. Which river?
Nearby Darjeeling, I have seen. Like one of our teammates are working on that. Even in Bihar, you can see river turn nesting.
But Darjeeling is not within Assam. It is far off from Assam. It is in West Bengal. Anyway. Okay. Thank you very much for this information.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, as you said that the parents will intervene the egg and they'll be checking whether that chick is alive or not. Due to this, whether there is any relation that they have become endangered and what is the percentage? Like
I think success rate. Hello. I didn't got your question. Can you repeat it again?
So you said that the parents will intervene the egg and they'll be checking whether the chick is alive or dead. And you said that as a result, some of the chick may die.
Yes.
So I'm asking, what is the percentage that they are dying due to this behavior of the parent? Whether it is a main reason to become endangered or
no. These eggs will hatch like these are having a good parental care, so they won't interfere with the chicks. Like only if the egg is not open, so they will try to open that egg, and even the chick is dead, they will poke into the chick and they will throw. If the egg is chick is dead, they will throw that chick out of the nest. That you can see. Then these ibis and ants will feed upon that chicks, as I observed. The hatching success rate is around like 80%, but I don't know. I have not studied the fledgling success rate, because to study the fledgling success rate, I need to ring that chicks to see how much either they survived up to fledgling adulthood or not. Only we can know by ringing the chicks. You can easily ring these chicks because they are the precocial birds. The legs will start developing first. Soon after the legs were developed, the body, wings and all, next the development will be happening after wings. So it's very common to ring these riverine birds for their legs.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, am I audible? Sir, I am from Maharashtra. I was from recently in the nearby Borivali beaches. I have seen many sandpipers, sir. So I wonder what is the difference in sandpipers near Borivali beaches?
Okay.
In some winter season.
Yes.
What is difference in sandpipers and the river terns?
Okay. Oh, these sandpipers, like river terns, are not migratory. As I've seen, they are the residential birds. They come and congregate. They're not moving in the winter season. They only move in the summer season. Soon after, these migratory birds goes back to their main habitats. So these sandpipers, some of the sandpipers are mainly inland ones, and most of the huge numbers of sandpipers you can see it over in the coastal areas. But it's very difficult to see these river terns in the coastal areas. They because they usually prefer inland water bodies. And during the migratory season, during the winter season, you can't see these many individuals of river terns. Only the river tern population you can see is in the summer seasons. Only after February they'll be start congregating. But sandpipers will start congregating in the month of October only. October to February is the season. Soon after the migratory season ends, they'll be moving out. They'll be moving to their homelands to breed. And again in the next October, they will come to India.
Okay, sir. And sir, what is the
Hello, good evening,
size of
sir.
the river terns size?
Tell me again.
Sir, what is the size of the river terns?
Size of the river terns. So it basically varies from individual to individuals. I have not captured, like I have not handled the river terns of Bhadra. But size of the river terns is preferably up to like a rock pigeon.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
It comes up to like 30 to
Hello.
45
Good evening, sir.
centimeters. Good evening.
Sir, what are the major threats to river tern population declining?
The major threats to population declining is construction of dams, mainly because all the riverine islands were gone because of construction of the dams, because the entire area will be submerged. That is one of the main reason. And the invasive species over their nesting grounds. They're taking over the open areas, and this bird doesn't like to lay the nest in that vegetation areas. So major threats are these two major threats.
Okay,
And
it means
loss of-
they generally do nest in open sandy beach.
not a sandy beach, they need a rocky areas, rocky nesting islands.
Sir, you were telling due to construction of this human-induced developmental practice, like dam, such a dam mostly. But in whatever the view about other area, like in Satkosia Gorge in Mahanadi River system in Odisha, Chambal River system,
Yes.
but there is.
So because these,
There is
because to increase the density, here you can see why you can see this many numbers in Bhadra is like the entire reservoir is protected because of tiger reserve. So no human movement is allowed, no fishing is allowed in that area. So the birds feel very protective. So you can see them in huge numbers. Until and unless there is a human habituation, these birds are not getting affected. Only if there is a human habituation, these birds will get affected for sure.
Sir, are there any climate change impact on their population decline? Means any
Yes.
microclimatic factor?
Yes. Preferably, these are microclimatic birds, but preferably due to this season, as I observed, 2 times there was a cyclone kind of thing, and during that time, the entire batch which was laid their eggs were dead, washed away due to heavy rains. There was a uncontrolled rains during May month. The entire population of that batch is gone.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And
Thank
most of
you,
the
sir.
birds were dead due to rising temperature also.
Hello, sir. I'm
Hello?
audible.
Yes.
Yeah. Myself, Naveen, sir. I am a graduate by Kuvempu University in last year.
Oh.
Do you think the migrated birds affect the local community because of the large populations like that?
No. Migratory birds affect the local community because even though if that birds visit that island, the local community, that indicates the presence of good habitat for the birds. So this migratory bird doesn't stay over here for the entire their life. They'll be staying here only for 3 months. They'll be controlling our pets and all. So very important. That's the presence of migratory birds are very important in the ecosystem.
Okay, so then when they leave that place for the migration, the chicos are like I mean how that newborn birds go to their own place, like
So
their
we know that comes from their gene only. Even though people doesn't know how they are migrating, how they are coming to the same area again and again, there are like 3-4 theories which tells about this, but none of them have proved the 100% it's the reason. So they use a satellite bodies, and even they use a landscape also. Even the change in landscape also affect the movement of the bird. Even the land use system, land cover system changes also affect the movement of the birds migration.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. It was really a great session for all of us. Now the session is about to end. For further doubts, you can contact the speaker. The mail ID will be provided in the group. Thank you for all.
Thank you.